Well, do you have any comments on the latest military advances? Because I know you're interested in that.
Well, you know, some people, I think, were getting a little upset hearing about a few American, those Bradleys were lost, and a couple of those German tanks were lost in the counteroffensive. But I don't think it's anything to panic about. I mean, naturally in war you're going to lose some equipment, no matter how good it is. And no matter what you do, you're going to lose a little bit of equipment. So I think we got to wait and see how this counteroffensive is going to turn out. I think eventually they're going to break through. And I think they'll be successful. Exactly how successful, it's hard to say. But I think a lot of this, it's like Russian, I don't know what you call it, misinformation or disinformation. You know, the Russians somehow, I think it was kind of a setup or something myself, they managed to somehow destroy a couple of the German tanks and a few of the American fighting vehicles. Then they take photos of them from different angles and they make it seem like they've destroyed like 20 or 50 tanks or something. It's just 2 tanks. And that's just typical for the Russians. And Putin, I think a lot of Americans don't realize that Putin has been running a full-scale disinformation war against the United States for 10 or 15 years now. And I think a lot of the political problems that we have in this country are actually being kind of seeded or fertilized by Russia. I mean, there's all this talk about if there was or wasn't collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Well, collusion is collusion and help is help. I mean, there could have been help because they saw Trump as the more divisive candidate, the more, you know, upsetting to the whole American system. And I think there's a lot of Americans who seem to mistake bellicosity for honesty, and I think these people are falling into this trap set by Putin and the Russian troll farm, I guess. I think a lot of the crazy comments and things you might see on Facebook or YouTube comments, I feel like a lot of this stuff, you know, in 2016 or something, I thought there's a lot of crazy comments on both sides. I thought it was just extreme people, Americans, who just had extreme feelings. But more and more, I'm starting to think a lot of this is actually Russians interfering in our system here. And they're trying to get Americans angry at each other, trying to make us doubt our leadership, make us doubt our institutions, make us doubt the Western media, make us doubt our own eyes and our own judgment. I think it's all this divisiveness. It's exactly what Putin wants. He's taking steps to make sure it happens. You know, maybe the Trump campaign, maybe they played no part in it themselves. But I don't think that means that the Russians have not been interfering in our system. Whether Trump asked for it or invited it in any way or not, I think it's still happening. It can't really be denied that it's happening. So, and you know, I kind of feel like, you know, this all started in Ukraine. Well, maybe not exactly started, but to a great degree, it started back in 2014, and Putin, you know, he kind of invaded Crimea, and then he sent these, what they call little green men into the Donbass area, like unmarked mercenaries, probably political agitators, and he basically tried to start, or did start, a civil war within Ukraine. And I'm sure Ukrainians had some differences of opinion between each other, but Putin really went in there and stirred that all up and made it into an actual war. And he didn't just dump off some cases of old rusty AK-47s. You know, he was giving them tanks, heavy artillery. They had anti-aircraft missiles capable of shooting down that one airliner. The civilian airliner was shot down with Russian missiles. I mean, this isn't stuff that you can buy at a local gun shop or anything like that. This was definitely Russia supplying equipment, supplying mercenaries, and creating a civil war within Ukraine.